Okay.
3, 2, 1. Welcome to Mamamia Out Loud, what women are talking about on Wednesday, the 25th of January. I'm Jessie Stevens.
I'm Mia Friedman.
And from your daily news podcast, The Quickie, I'm Claire Murphy, filling in for the brilliant Holly today.
Grandmas have had enough. This week, a woman took to a Reddit forum called Am I the Arsehole? It's one of my favourite forums.
Mine too.
99% of the time, you're the arsehole.
Mm-hmm.
And I really want your opinions on what she wrote, okay? We'll use it as a bit of a listener dilemma. This is what she wrote. For context, the writer is 29 years old and she has a newborn. So she wrote, I asked my mum to help me take care of my newborn so I could go back to work once my leave is up. Mind you, my mum is 64, has been a homemaker, stay-at-home mum since 1992 and hasn't been part of the workforce since then. She refused, saying she's too old and that she already raised her kids. She also added that if I really wanted this baby, then maybe I should have thought about staying home like she did to take care of it while my partner goes to work and provides for us like a traditional family.
Sick burn from Grandma.
And that if she and my dad were able to work it out, so can we. She says that coming out of a pandemic, this is the woman. Basically, the post goes on to say that they're coming out of a pandemic, they're going into a recession, and her partner actually can't afford to survive on the one income. So her mother came back to her and said, okay, fine, I'll look after this baby for $20 an hour and it's got to be at my house and you have to provide everything, like bottles, strollers and stuff. So she asks, am I the asshole for wanting my mum, who again is at home all day long, trust me, she does not do anything besides watch TV and cook meals, to take care of my baby for free while me and my partner try to fix our finances? Mia, should grandmothers be paid for their time?
Look, I'm already on the text with Ann Stevens, your mother. We have decided before your first child is born and we become grandmothers to it, that we are going to unionise and price fix.
Oh.
So
$20 an hour is actually
we
very
will be
cheap.
providing a united front. Don't think that you'll be able to play us off against one another. We will be demanding the same working conditions and also super.
Oh.
Now, I think this is so interesting and I have a real insight into both the grandmother and the mother's point of view, right? I think that it's massively arrogant but also understandable to think that your mother is going to, at a time in her life when she's just got won some freedom back and is taking a breath after the mental load of raising children and being at home, that she can just slip straight back into that and that she is just a vessel to now assume the identity of grandmother after being the wife and mother for all these years. Now it's just like, okay, please now be grandmother. And the mother's just like, well, she's not saying screw you, I'm not going to do it, but she's saying it sounds like she was going to have to go out and get a job where she earned money. So are we saying women's time is not worth anything? Is that what we're saying?
And isn't it interesting how often it is the grandmother? Because
no one's mentioned the granddad.
No.
Yeah.
What they're speaking to, and I think this is something that I've recognised just among my friends who have had children, is that there is no privilege like grandparents who are close and who want to help. Like that is a privilege that...
Write that down, put it on a T-shirt and
Yeah.
wear it all often, please.
Because there are so many people that are in their 50s, 60s, 70s, whatever, and either they don't live close or they don't really want to.
I had free childcare. Claire, I don't know what you had. I had a day a week from my mother and my mother-in-law until my son went to school.
Well, my mother-in-law actually came to us because we were the last in her family to have children. So we have the last grandchild. And she said, look, I helped both of your sisters to look after their kids while they were young. So I'm offering my assistance to you. I am a stay-at-home mum. So if you want to drop her off while you go to work, then I'm offering that to you and I'll move closer to you to do that, which was incredibly generous of her and her time. And we are forever grateful for that. My mum and dad would probably pay me to look after their grandchild. They are obsessed with her. Also, the last grandchild for my family as well. But I'm the kind of person who never, ever expects anyone to look after my child unless they are a professional. So even when this even includes play dates. So when I have someone say, can, Tilly come over for a play date somewhere, I'm like, great. And I'd go over there and then I'm like, okay, I would never expect them to feed her or do any of the things. I send snacks. I make sure that there's a very clear pickup time. I would never ask my friends to just take my child at the drop of a hat. I feel very guilty about asking people to look after my child because I understand how valuable people's time is, and I would never expect them to just want to do it. I ask them if they wouldn't mind, and if they say no, I immediately say yes, okay, I will find alternate, plans. But we paid for daycare. We paid a shit ton of money for daycare for our child because we don't want to always impose on our relatives to do so.
Do you know the other thing, Jessie, that you'll find just putting forward more evidence for the fact that Anne and I should be paid is that when you are paying someone to do a job, you've got the boundaries are clearer and you've got more power. When you are relying on someone out of the goodness of their heart, I remember by the time our second and third children came along and, the grandmothers were older and they were also both working part-time, and they said, that it wasn't as easy because they would be like, oh, I've got a medical appointment, or, oh, we're going to be overseas. And it would be like, I'd get really annoyed because it's like, well, can't you have your mammogram on a different day? Do you really need to go to Africa? Do you?
And that must be really hard for grandparents, right? Because the first one comes along, lots of excitement.
Oh, yes.
Time created, blah, blah, blah. What happens when it's grandchild number 11?
Well, you're lucky that you're getting in before your twin sister. That's all I can say.
Because I reckon that there would be a lot of grandparents who are going, I don't want to do it for the third, for the fourth, for the fifth. I feel like it would be fair, but also your time is valuable. And the interesting thing about holidays and stuff is that, if I have this baby and my mum, we have an arrangement and mum goes, okay, every Tuesday I'll look after the baby, that really limits her in terms of, okay, she has just raised children and worked for her whole life, and she's will be sort of mid-60s. What if she wants to go up the coast? Or what if she wants to volunteer?
And what if she doesn't want to do any of those things? What if she wants to read a book? I thought it was interesting in that poster, the 29-year-old, the contempt with which she said all she does is sit around and watch TV and cook meals. Firstly, that's your view of what she does. You don't know what she does. She might be having a raging affair, or she might be reading.
Also,
she might
that's her
be
bloody choice to sit at home and do nothing if she's bloody urgent.
She might be doing puzzles. It's not you to judge. But I also have been the person who's judged.
Should you pay grandparents though? Yes or no? Would you pay grandparents to look after your kids?
I would offer it, and I have friends who have done the same. They've got arrangements with grandparents where they are absolutely paid for their time. But then I also acknowledge that
I would rather pay a grandparent to do it than a stranger.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I suppose. But then there's also the thing about sending kids to early childhood or whatever, early childcare, is that there's a level of expertise that is coming with,
Are you trying to negotiate my rate down?
Yeah, I don't think you're
Also,
worth the
can
same
I
as
just
an
say
early.
that I disagree slightly with that. Yes, there's a level of expertise, but also a lot of the childcare workers who worked with my daughter had no children of their own. So my mum has had 3, and she absolutely has expertise in raising children, as does my mother-in-law, who also fosters children, so has raised 1 billion of them. So I think her expertise, whilst might not be on paper, is definitely life experience, and you should pay for that. But I think at the end of the day, it's an expectation. You shouldn't expect it, right? You ask, you negotiate the details, but don't lob your kids on your parents and be like, well, you had me, so I expect you to look after them.
Yeah. That feels like a decision that probably has to be made before the baby even.
Yeah.
comes into
It's
the
a good
world.
thing
Yeah.
to talk about during pregnancy.
Yeah.
Jessie, I'll pencil in
Yeah.
a
Meeting.
mediation between you, me, and Anne.